Right. Okay. Is this so? Again, as somebody who's been not watching this with all of the AV components from stream to stream, this is not the first lockpick that we've encountered, right?
No, it was.
It was.
Yeah, because
Well,
I had to do it with the weird controls.
in that case, I would like to talk about how much I love that lockpick minigame.
Yeah?
Because, yeah, I think it's satisfying and really fun to look at, but at the same, it makes you feel like Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really like how they haven't changed it at all. So once you know what the sweet spots are from playing like Fallout 3, guess what? It still works. All these games later in Fallout 4, it's still the exact same thing. The fact that it works between Skyrim and Elder Scrolls is hilarious to me. Oblivion had a different lockpicking minigame, if I remember correctly. It was the one where you like actually tap the you tap the locking mechanisms so that they go up into place and then they lock, I believe.
Yeah, I know the one.
That one's fun.
Also,
That
some of you may be thinking, but I thought Clancy didn't steal. Well, Clancy doesn't respect the ownership of the things in that back room. As far as Clancy is concerned, they're up for grabs, despite the game's claims to the contrary.
Clancy, have we determined how honorable he is yet? He's honorable until he's forced to not be, right?
Honorable, but survival comes first.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
much.
I would say stealing from a casino is maybe fine. Casinos not being the most honorable business in the world. Also, stealing from a casino is pretty much just stealing from a stealing thief.
Yeah.
So it all evens out. Restores neutrality to the world.
The balance must be preserved.
The balance must be preserved. Were there any other boxing glove? It's such a weird question to ask, but were there any other boxing glove models in this game other than like Power Fist and stuff, or was it just the brown like rawhide leather?
There's the golden gloves, which we'll get later.
Okay. It's a strange color for boxing gloves to be like brown.
I get the feeling that, despite this house being labeled as owned, there's nobody in here. That's what I'm gonna suggest. But in addition to there being nobody in here, there may also be nothing worth stealing.
I gotta say, I feel like it might just be me, but my history with Fallout has taught me that all of the coolest side stuff, or like the most memorable and most disturbing side content, almost always comes from, hey, what's in this empty, unmarked house? Oh, it turns out it's a bunch of cannibals.
Yeah.
I feel like every Fallout game has that moment too of like, hey, what's the side quest everybody remembers and why? And it almost always turns out, oh, it was the righteous looking people who turned out to be cannibals. I feel like every single one has that.
In this game, it's on the strip.
Mm-hmm. In Fallout 3, I remember the house that you walk into, and it's the same deal.
Well, was it cannibals or was it vampires? Because that game did
No.
have vampires in it.
No, the vampires were like their own thing, and they had their own underground layer, and they were awesome. But the cannibals were just like, oh, hey, welcome to our house. Why don't you stay for dinner? Also, don't go in the basement. And
That's
then
usually how it goes. This mailbox
Yep.
is backwards.
I want to see it.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Better. You know what? Maybe that's where the postmaster lives. Hey, welcome, Bad Cat.
Oh, hello.
We're taking a slightly different turn from yesterday. No, man. All caps are fine, at least until the robot catches you. I think our bots.
We need to configure that robot. Need to figure that
I
out.
So I did configure it a little bit. I turned off some of those things, but
That's good to hear.
as far as I know, it's still a rogue AI.
Which is awesome.
I really like the idea that the chatbots are not our friends. I don't know why, but that seems really fun to me. I saw, talking about rogue AI and these types of games, I saw that Steam had a sale going, which it called 0451, and it was supposed to be like, oh, hey, it's all of these games, you know, the one like the Shocks and Deus Ex and everything. But I looked at it, and there were some Deus Ex games in there, but like, I don't think I saw a single System Shock game in there, which is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's unusual.
Man, System Shock. Have you ever played the original System Shock?
Never.
I think you would really, really like that game, but it is super hard to go back to.
Well, they are coming out with that remake.
Maybe? Dude, I don't know. I really hope they're coming out with that remake, but it seems to change hands like every time I look at it. Also, in similar news, I found out that the lead writer for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is he left, which does not bode well for that game.
Really?
And that does not bode well for me because I was super looking forward to that game. Nightbot gave you a 10-minute ban for saying hello in caps for your first message. I'm sorry, Bad Cat. Let me
Some
put that.
adjustments must need to be made.
I'm gonna do some calibrations, Garrus style. We're gonna put it through the Blade Runner Turing test, and we'll get that sorted out.
Don't you worry.
But welcome. After the 10-minute ban, welcome. It's gotta be super late or early or something for you, right? I mean, I feel like you were with us yesterday, which would have put you at the wee hours of the morn. Which makes me worry. Because now I'm flanked on both sides. Because Bix does the same thing.
Time zones. Time zones. Hey, what's this? This is a funny looking tree.
Ah, only 2015. Fair enough. You know, I gotta say, Vix, the first time that I went out to, when I first went out to Vegas, I started seeing a lot of these types of trees and was super weirded out, not because the trees themselves are weird. You know, coming from Florida, you have weird vegetation all the time that doesn't show up anywhere else. But the fact that I recognized it from New Vegas specifically, and I am suddenly seeing it here in front of me in all of its prickly, painful glory, I'm like, oh, this is such a weird, surreal experience, and I'm an asshole for thinking this is surreal. Because this is the real thing. Oh no. Clancy's not as sneaky as we thought.
Afraid not.
But that's okay. He's got the punches to back it up.
How do you pickpocket with boxing gloves on?
Dear Clancy, I'm a raider and what? I'm a raider and here's $1 million. I wonder if Homestar Runner is still going. Because I know they had a revival, right?
Yeah.
What? Oh no, did you get the ambush? I recognize this gas station very much as the ambush gas station. Because this is pretty much the route that I took to skip straight to Vegas, like, all the time. Bad Cat in chat says, I'm watching this while making dinner. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad somebody's getting some nourishment out of this. Meanwhile, Clancy here is tenderizing all of the mook meat. Just turning everything into burger. That's his specialty.
He's trying really hard.
I mean, you seem to be doing okay. Yep, that's the way you do it. Just keep on punching them. You just keep on whacking. That reminds me of one of my favorite scenes from the television show Angel, where the good guys essentially get locked into a room. Well, they get locked into like this massive steel cage, and the dude tries like kicking the door open, and he just keeps on trying to kick the door open, and eventually one of the characters looks at him and says, "You can't keep doing that. Just because you're gonna keep kicking it doesn't mean it's gonna open." And like they transition away for a couple minutes and go to the B plot, and then they come back and they're still arguing about it, and he just kicks the door to the steel cage open. He's like, sometimes you just gotta keep whacking. And that has always stayed with me.
I feel like that's the lesson here.
Sometimes you just gotta keep whacking. Look, eventually the metal is gonna give way. Eventually this Jackal gang leader is gonna die. Damn. Good work.
Did it.
You did. I should also say, talking about that Mass Effect 3 that I'm in the middle of, I tried real hard to get to the end of it today, and I got real close, but what ended up happening instead was I ran out of time, and I am at literally the 15-minute to the end point, the point where everybody says, "Oh no, this game," and I still haven't, like, I know what happens, but I have not experienced it myself yet. And I'm right there. And part of me is like, I don't know whether I want to do this to myself. And part of me is like, no, you got to see it through. And man, also hello, welcome to everybody. We are we're doing our hardcore run with nothing but fisticuffs. But yeah, no, this last thing that we've been doing with Mass Effect 3 has gone on such a crazy ride, because I had essentially installed a bunch of mods, right? And the modding community for the Mass Effect games has kind of saved them in a lot of really cool ways. It can't undo all of the damage, but like they came really, really close. And what essentially happened was I played through about 80% of Mass Effect 3, and with mods installed, that came out to about 20-ish something hours probably. And I was right before the last thing where they're like, hey, this is the mission, this is the point of no return, so make sure you do everything. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and pick up the DLC? Because I know that's where all of the best content for this game is supposed to be, right? And I did. And I've been spending the last couple of days going through Citadel, going through Leviathan, going through all of those, and having a pretty good time with it. And now that I am through all of the best the game has to offer, I had to restart my installation of the game like 4 or 5 times because the mods don't always play nicely with DLC and the load order and everything like that. So I took a week, much like Bethesda games, and I took about a week off from playing Mass Effect 3, and it wasn't a voluntary week being taken off is the thing. Like, I took that week off because for 5 days straight I was trying to get my installation to work properly again. And I just barely got it to the point where it is a shambling mess of glue and toothpicks and strips of duct tape. And I think I can finish the game, but it's not in that like full state that it was at when I first started. Which, if ever I had a history with a game, I think Mass Effect is really coming up on like a nemesis of sorts. It's Mass Effect 3 and it's Arkham Knight at this point.
Sure sounds that way.
Also, Joel in chat is right. New Vegas is pretty fantastic. At least, it's definitely the fan favorite and has the best writing and has the most going for it overall.
Easily.
If you go into Fallout games liking the mechanics of it, and liking just purely the aesthetic elements, I would say 4 is good for you, Bad Cat. That's a good place to start. If you played through 4 and found yourself thinking, I really like this game, I wish the story was better, I wish the choices mattered more, New Vegas is that.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely less arcadey when it comes to the combat and when it comes to mechanics that you interact with. But what it makes up for, or what it lacks for in that, it definitely makes up for in storytelling. And yeah, I feel like you say you're trying to 100% it. I feel like Fallout games would be super interesting to try and do absolutely everything in. Aside from stuff where, you know, a choice or two might lock you out of a path here or there, I feel like that would be a really cool place to go with it. Plus the DLCs. Yeah, totally.
And we will be doing the DLCs for this.
Oh yeah. As far as I know, similar to Mass Effect, the DLC content for New Vegas is some of the best content in the game.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell
you
right now that if it doesn't happen earlier, the DLC content is when this will go from being EPO to being Megalobox.
Fair enough.
And you'll understand what I mean when we get there.
I mean, I have played... there's only one of the DLC in this game that I've touched, which is Old World Blues, which I won't spoil for anybody who's not up to it, but it's a really cool one. It's a cool place for this to go. The thing that I do know, the only thing that I'm like spoiled on or versed in is the character of Ulysses, and I like him a lot. And I won't say any more until we get to him. I like him a lot. I wish he had been in the game originally. And I imagine he probably was supposed to be. That's always the feeling that I get with DLC, is like, it's this double-edged sword, right? Because when it's bad, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's DLC, whatever, you can ignore it. But whenever it's good, I get the feeling that it was cut out of the game. And that's totally not true of like every game. There are absolutely some that have amazing content that was added after the fact. Shivering Isles, I think, was probably not supposed to be in the game originally, and was something they created after the fact. But I don't know, like Ulysses is so tied into the plot, I guess, the starting plot of this game, that I can't imagine that it wasn't planned in some way. Hmm. And thematically, it's just some of the most interesting stuff in the game.
I saw something. Oh, it's you. It's an ant.
I've been accused of being many things in my life, but an ant is not one of them. I'm sure at some point down the line we will start to get we'll get our post-apocalyptic French on. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I assume it'll happen at some point.
It already happened once. No reason it can't happen again.
Ain't that just the way of the world? Tell you what is your history with, and I'm going somewhere with this, what's your history with the Flintstones?
I remember watching it on Boomerang when I was a kid.
There is a roadside attraction on Route 66,
Yeah.
one of kind of the last remaining roadside attractions. That it's essentially, it's like I think it's called Bedrock City or Bedrock Canyon. It's a camping ground where, much in the style of Disneyland, they have bits and pieces of the show that they've made up in giant props that you wander around in, right?
Yeah.
And some number of decades ago, Bedrock City was a kind of a thriving thing. It when Route 66 was still what it was before it became what it is now, it was a destination. It did well. Nowadays, though, I went and visited around the last time that I went to Arizona, and it is kind of the closest thing I've ever seen to an actual location in a Fallout game, because everything in it is in disrepair. Everything in it is like, it's all made of like stucco and stone. So when you wander through the wastes in New Vegas and you kind of get a feel for like, what do you think the buildings in here feel like to the touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this dusty, grimy, stone cold. It's like when you go to Novak. That dinosaur is what that whole thing was.
Yeah.
And what's more, when we visited it, it was the dead of winter. So it should have been closed down. It had no visitors. It was entirely blanketed in snow. And we got a ton of pictures in there. And it was just like the creepiest, most disturbing thing that I think I've ever set foot in.
Now that's pretty cool.
And I've been to public school, so, I mean...
You say that, and I just think of the schools in Invader Zim.
That's fair. That art style still gives me some chills. Just thinking about inhabiting that world sucks.
And
With
that
like
is the point.
The giant metal leaking tubes everywhere that go to who. That Samurai Jack game coming out makes me really want our Invader Zim game.
And we're gonna play that, by the way.
I know that we have Destroy All Humans, but we don't have a proper Invader Zim game. And we need one. The world needs it.
It's true.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing about that Samurai Jack game, right? It is $40 and about 8 hours long, and I have a feeling that it will probably go on sale soon. It's not bad. It's just like the value proposition. I feel like that game is probably going to start going on sale pretty soon. Because the things that I've heard about it and looking into it is totally just an action platformer that would have come out on the PS2, except it's in 2020. I don't know if it has any like plot significance. I know that it takes place technically at the end of season 5, but with the name Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, it probably doesn't matter that much.
It sounds like, based on what I read, it sounds like they're going somewhere with it.
So it was made by the original creators.
Mm-hmm.
It has a definitive place that it takes place in the story, and it seems to be like it seems to be the kind of game where you are just going through all of the iconic locations and meeting characters that you met in the show. So I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much how the original series ended too, or not the original, the revival series ended too, so makes sense.
And it's like I was saying to you earlier, if they can kind of do what season 5 didn't, I would be really interested in that just for plot reasons.
I wonder, because part of me thinks like there's no way that they would undo the finale, and there's no way that they would retell it, or like there's no way that they would retcon it, but I could see a situation in which they were like, here's a what if that might have happened, right?
Or like, here's what happened after. Maybe it wasn't really over.
Yeah. I think there is direction that you could take that. And I'd be interested in that. Also, we were talking earlier, and I was wrong about the end of Samurai Jack, because I was under the impression that I had never seen the end of Season 5. I've totally seen the end of Season 5, and I just forgot about it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still stand by what I said before. I think I don't have a problem with how it ended. Samurai Jack will always exist to me as two separate things. Like, the original series, for me, did not conclude with Season 5. Even though Season 5 was largely really, really cool and awesome, it just took so long, and I feel like the nature of that original series not having an ending, and even ending in a way that was super unfulfilling, kind of puts it in my head as Jack going through time forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, Samurai Jack was never about watch out, gotta get back to the past. It was never about gotta get back.
And
to
it's
me,
really funny to me that you say that. Because it's literally the whole premise.
To me, Samurai Jack was always gotta get back, but I'll never actually get back because I'm too good of a person to ever go back. Like, I have all of the... In my mind, Jack exists in this constant state of almost getting that portal before Aku snatches it away from him.
Or he has to, like, stop someone from getting killed.
Right, like, Batman will never kill the Joker. Jack will never go back. Ever.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes
and then the fact that he does at the end, I'm like, okay.
That's
well,
kind of the thing that bothered me about it, is that there was no subversion to it at all.
Well, there was a subversion to it, but it's the implication of what was subverted that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, right? So I guess do you want to talk spoilers for the end, or do you want to here and save it?
Tell you what, we should save it for the game because we're gonna play that.
We won't
Okay.
go quietly. The Legion can
I will
count on
say there's definitely a conversation to be had here.
So
Talking
we should
about-
save it when we're trying to fill for time with that game.
You know, I feel like filling for time in Samurai Jack is going to be a little bit easier considering that game is so short.
I
But
mean,
not too
Destroy
bad.
All Humans was short too, and it took us forever to beat that.
Hey, it was 4 streams, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Is there a damn traitor at this outpost? Come on.
Yes,
Where?
there is.
Do you know where?
It's where you meet Cass. I believe it's the building that you're looking at right now.
Is it this smaller one? No, I don't think you can go. Wait.
There's totally like a dingy bar
New face
or
in the
something
outpost.
in
Must
here
have come from
that
the
you meet
north.
Cass at,
So,
and you
what do
can
you
buy
have?
stuff there.
Take a look.
Yeah, totally. Joel says in chat, watched the Clone Wars put out by the same animators. Loved that one. Totally. The Clone Wars series is awesome. I actually have on my shelf here. I've got season 1 and season 2, and yeah, those are pretty fantastic. Gendy Tartakovsky is awesome. If you liked those, you should check out his latest thing, which is Primal, which aired a little bit on Adult Swim. It's very short, almost entirely silent, and just like those brutal action scenes. It's really, really cool. It's definitely a piece of art. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Gendy Tartakovsky's awesome. He, in addition to doing that, Dexter's Lab still holds up quite a bit. There are some episodes that haven't aged as well, given just how long it's been. But I still watch Dexter's Lab, and I love it. I actually really, really liked that first Hotel Transylvania movie before it became like crazy, crazy, super popular with a ton of sequels or whatever, and became like a cash cow franchise. That first Hotel Transylvania was pretty awesome because you could totally see a lot of Gendyisms in that movie.
Gendyisms, huh? I like it.
I'm gonna go out and say he's got a very specific way that he like designs characters and animates for sure. He's big on the lineless art, which is something that we don't see a whole lot of anymore.
I know exactly what you mean, though. It's actually a really good style.
It's so minimalist and so deliberate that it takes a lot of craft to get it right. Some of the newer Cartoon Network
Work
shows,
around
though,
here.
despite having
Might check out
definitely
Jackson, the
newer
main
art
building,
styles to
or
them,
ghost up on the roof
I have
above.
really,
Watch
really
out,
enjoyed
she's
a number of the things they put out.
Don't tell her I said that though.
Summer
Might
Camp
take a pill
Island was
some night when I'm
awesome.
going to the latrine.
Anybody out there wants to watch like a
then.
low-key, very relaxed and much more
Hello.
mellowed out kind of adventure time, Summer Camp Island is definitely the way to go. And that same trip out to Arizona, actually, I had was the premiere on cable for that show, and I remember watching it at about 2 in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and Adult Swim or Cartoon Network or whichever one it was at the time, I forget exactly who put that out, but they were like, yo, what if we just put all of the episodes of this first season and aired them all like right. It's available. Go and watch it. It was like the Netflix format, but on cable. And as somebody who doesn't normally have cable, it was an interesting experience.
Speaking of interesting experiences and watching shit on cable because you can't sleep in a hotel room. There was this one time where we were traveling cross country and a car accident laid us up in a hotel in Flagstaff. And you know what I watched that night? Chuck Norris Karate Commandos.
Okay, yeah. Yep. That checks out. Why? What? Who?
It was a long time ago.
That's like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg walking into the video or the convenience store at the end of Hot Fuzz, and he just picks up Super Cop, the cop that can't be stopped.
Yep.
It's exactly one of those.
Same shit.
I have a serious love for these weird kind of B movies, especially when they're, kung fu epics or martial arts based, or something with a cool kind of premise to it.
Yeah.
I'm usually way into. There's one in particular that this reminds me of that I want to save for when we are eventually going through
Jade Empire.
Yes, Jade Empire. And actually, I remember that in a sort of... Oh, nope. Come on over here, new tab. I want to... In a sort of a piece of preparation, Samurai Cop is a national treasure, says Joel. Samurai Cop is a very interesting movie. I will say that for sure. Let's see. Yep, okay. In sort of a preparation for knowing that I was going to bring that movie up and wanting to talk about something else that was Kung Fu related, have you seen any talk, any footage, anything from a game called Black Myth Wukong?
Never.
So Black Myth Wukong seems to be an upcoming Chinese AAA kung fu fighting, like it's an action game.
Right.
And they said that they had some influences that they were pulling from. One of them specifically was Monster Hunter World. And one of them was the new God of War that they put out. And boy howdy, the game just looks like a Kung Fu Dark Souls, which is what I wanted Absolver to be in Absolver. It looks gorgeous, animates very, very nicely, and just looks to be more of that Souls-esque Chinese action Kung Fu. It's pretty cool. Anybody out there who is interested at all, there is a 13-minute gameplay trailer right now on IGN, and it's in Chinese. It's not... Oh god. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna put that in a new tab and talk about that when we're done with that. Yeah, there's a 13-minute recap on IGN right now, and it's just gameplay, and it looks super, super cool. It's based off of Journey to the West, of all things. So,
I mean, Journey to the West is pretty cool. We all like Dragon Ball.
We're getting that Dragon Ball Dark Souls game. I wonder when this would come to, when this would get maybe an English localization, because I am totally into this. I'm just watching these two dudes with spears and tails beat the crap out of each other, and one of them has a staff, and he's doing, like, kata flips, and the staff is on fire, and it's gorgeous.
That sounds pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, Is that a... What is this? Oh, is that a...
You gonna finish
Yep.
that thought?
I thought it was a dragon. I'm gonna exit out of here because I don't want to look at too many spoilers. But here's the other deal. In looking at that, I pulled up a trailer for a new Batman game. Who is making this? Batman Gotham Knights?
Knights, plural.
Batman Gotham Knights.
Now, is that
They-
like knights as in dark?
Yes, as in the Dark Knight. Knights,
Oh.
plural. Which I would be, you know what? Fuck it. I would be way more interested, I think, in Gotham Knights, where you just play as a dude in Gotham City who's like a bartender or something.
Now, see, that's what I thought you said.
No, this looks to be just another Batman game. That's such a weird thing to say. This looks to be a game in which you play as the Bat family. I see Robin here. I see Nightwing here. I see... Yep, mostly the secondary characters look like. Which could be... Oh, that is that's a Red Hood. Oh, okay. Yep, it's a new... Looks like it's a new Arkham-style game where you play as the Bat family. Which is rad. But is Rocksteady making this, or is it just Warner Brothers? Because we've had... well, we got motorcycles. We got a lot of neon going on here. Is that Hush? I think that might be Hush. Cryostasis looking pods. Who is making this? Okay, it looks to be... Just says it's Warner Brothers, which
Oh,
is
no.
weird to me. We don't want that. Joel in chat says, imagine 1v... One person plays as Batman trying to take out the 100 other... Shouldn't be a game, Dev. No, man. 100 Batmans drop out of a Batwing, and they all have to get to... They all have to get to Robin tied up in a chair, or Joker kills him with a crowbar. There you go. There's your battle royale. You're welcome, Warner Brothers. Let me see if I can have any more info on who's actually making this. Because if it's another Batman origin situation, you don't want that.
You say no.
WB Games Montreal. Okay, so yeah, it's not Rocksteady, looks like, which is worrying. I consider that worrying. Although, a Batman game without Batman, I'm down for it. I'm okay with that. I like the Bat family, actually. Yep, looks like Robin, Red Hood, Batwoman or Batgirl, and Nightwing. Batgirl. Okay, cool. Oh! Oh! This could actually be really interesting. So it looks like the bad guys in Gotham Knights are going to be the Court of Owls, which is a super, super, super cool long-running, or a super cool running arc that they had in Batman comics for a while. And it was basically like Gotham Illuminati. It's like a... Oh no! What? Oh, okay. This makes me really worried, actually. I'm flopping back and forth so fast on this.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
I'm reading this off of Polygon. WB Games Montreal made 2013's Batman Arkham Origins. It received generally positive reviews, but nowhere near the critical acclaim given to the 3 Batman Arkham games. Motherfucker, no, it didn't. People didn't like that game. That game was pretty bad. Rocksteady is at work on a Suicide Squad adaptation.
Yes. My memory is much clearer now that I'm free from my bondage.
Now let me ask you here.
Performing recon.
Is that a Suicide Squad movie adaptation, or is that a Suicide Squad adaptation? Because those are two very different things.
I assume that was you? They said they'd be heading through Nipton to Novak to meet a contact there.
But also, Rocksteady did make Arkham Knight, so I guess I don't trust them 100% either.